Welcome to our channel, dear viewers. Today, we invite you to snuggle in and immerse yourself in a truly heartwarming story of love, destiny, and the subtle magic of everyday life. If you adore romantic tales that make your heart swell, bring a smile to your lips, and remind you that love can bloom in the most unexpected places, then you're in the perfect spot. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss any of our enchanting stories, because today's tale is special. A journey of two souls whose hearts were quietly waiting for the universe to guide them together. Our story begins in Willowbrook, a charming little town where life flows slowly like the gentle river that curves through its heart. Willowbrook is a place where every street corner tells a story. The cobblestone streets lined with cozy little cafes, the flower boxes bursting with colors that seem almost too vibrant to be real, and the warm golden light of the sun bathing every rooftop in a tender embrace. The town has a rhythm that seems designed for reflection, romance, and moments of quiet wonder. Birds sing sweet melodies in the mornings. The scent of fresh pastries drifts from local bakeries, and at dusk, lanterns flicker along the streets, as if lighting the way for love to find its path. Here in Willowbrook lives Emma, a young woman with a heart brimming with dreams bigger than the town itself. Every morning, she strolls past the old bookshop on Maple Street, tracing her fingers over the spines of novels that promise adventures she's only imagined. Her eyes light up with a quiet longing, a spark that refuses to be dimmed even by the routines of small-town life. Emma works at a local bakery, filling the air with the comforting aroma of fresh bread and sweet confections, but her mind often drifts toward horizons far beyond the cobblestone streets she calls home. She sketches and writes in her little notebook whenever she can, capturing fleeting moments of inspiration, a stray cloud, a golden beam of sunlight, the soft flutter of a bird's wings. And then there is Liam, whose world is painted in the vivid hues of creativity. Liam is an artist, living in a sunlit studio at the edge of Willowbrook, surrounded by canvases both finished and in progress. His brushstrokes are tender and deliberate, each one capturing not just what he sees, but what he feels, the invisible whispers of the heart. Despite the brilliance of his work, Liam has carried a quiet loneliness for years, a gentle ache that he masks behind smiles and polite conversation. He watches the townsfolk go about their lives, seeing love bloom around him, yet never fully believing that such magic could find him. Fate, however, has a way of guiding hearts toward one another. In Willowbrook, where ordinary days feel enchanted, where the river reflects sunsets in dazzling gold and pink, and where the air seems to hum with quiet possibilities, Emma and Liam's story begins. Their worlds, though separate, are about to collide in a moment that will change their lives forever. A moment so simple yet profound that it feels like the universe itself is holding its breath, waiting for their hearts to recognize each other. And so, dear viewers, let us step together into the sunlit streets of Willowbrook, where love waits patiently, quietly, and beautifully, ready to bloom in the hearts of those willing to notice its gentle call. This is not just a story, it is a celebration of hope, of serendipity, and the extraordinary magic hidden within ordinary lives.
Emma woke up every morning to the soft glow of sunlight spilling through the lace curtains of her bedroom, the gentle chirping of sparrows outside acting as a natural alarm clock. Her room was a reflection of her soul, warm, inviting, and sprinkled with traces of imagination. Books were stacked in uneven piles on the windowsill, their spines adorned with titles that promised far-off lands, thrilling adventures, and timeless romances. A small desk by the corner of the room bore her notebook, its pages filled with delicate sketches, fleeting thoughts, and poetic musings that she rarely shared with anyone. Each morning, she would trace her fingers over her drawings, imagining the world she could create, if only she could escape the confines of Willowbrook, even if just for a little while. After a quick breakfast, usually a warm croissant and a cup of steaming tea, Emma would set off to the bakery where she worked. The bakery was a small, charming place with a bell above the door that jingled every time someone entered. The air was always thick with the sweet scent of pastries, bread, and cookies, mingling with the gentle hum of conversation from townsfolk who came for morning treats or afternoon tea. Emma loved the bakery, the warmth, the routines, and the soft smiles, but she could not deny the ache in her heart that whispered of a life beyond the familiar streets. As she kneaded dough and dusted flour over freshly baked bread, she often found herself daydreaming about distant places, sunlit markets in foreign cities, cobblestone streets bustling with laughter and music, or quiet lakesides where the water mirrored the sky in perfect stillness. Her friends often teased her about her vivid imagination. "Emma," they would say, "one day your dreams will carry you away from this little town." And she would smile, a secret knowing in her eyes, because she felt it too, that somewhere, beyond the river and the hills, the world was waiting to meet her. Yet there was a quiet comfort in Willowbrook, in the familiar smiles of neighbors, the comforting creak of old wooden doors, and the rustle of leaves in the town square. Emma loved her town, but she also longed for something more, a spark that would make her heart truly sing. When she wasn't working, Emma would often wander the streets of Willowbrook, notebook in hand capturing moments others might overlook. A child chasing a butterfly across a field, an elderly couple holding hands as they walked past the fountain, or the way sunlight danced on the rippling river. Each detail was a story waiting to be told. She often stopped by the old bookshop on Maple Street, running her fingers over the leather-bound spines, inhaling the faint scent of ink and paper. The shopkeeper, Mr. Hollis, always greeted her with a knowing smile. "Dreaming again, Emma?" he would ask. And she would nod, feeling that, yes, in these quiet moments, she was chasing dreams that felt just within reach, yet still tantalizingly far away. Her heart had room for love, though she didn't yet realize it. She admired the couples she saw walking by the river, the subtle glances, the tender gestures that spoke volumes without words. She had felt crushes before, fleeting sparks of curiosity and admiration, but nothing that truly stirred her soul. Deep down, she longed for a connection that felt as natural as breathing, a bond that could grow quietly but steadily, rooted in understanding, laughter, and the shared appreciation of life's small wonders. Her dreams were not just for adventure, they were for a heart that could feel equally alive alongside hers. Evenings in Emma's home were her favorite. She would sit by the window, candlelight flickering softly, writing letters she never sent, drawing landscapes she hoped to see, or simply gazing at the stars that blanketed the sky like 1,000 tiny lanterns. Sometimes she imagined meeting someone who would understand her unspoken thoughts, laugh at her odd little habits, and see the beauty in the small details that so often went unnoticed by the world. And while she didn't know it yet, fate was already preparing her path, quietly nudging the universe to orchestrate the perfect meeting, a meeting that would awaken her heart in ways she could never have imagined. And so, as Emma's heart quietly yearned for more, the stage was set for the magical arrival of someone who would change the rhythm of her days forever.
Liam's world was one of color, light, and quiet contemplation. His studio sat at the edge of Willowbrook, a brick building covered in ivy that seemed to grow in time with his imagination. Inside, canvases leaned against every wall, some covered with vivid landscapes that seemed to breathe, others depicting portraits that captured not just faces but souls. The smell of oil paints, turpentine, and freshly primed canvas hung in the air, a fragrance that to Liam felt like home. Brushes of every size rested in jars, their bristles worn but faithful, and sketches covered every available surface, waiting patiently to be transformed into something breathtaking. Every morning, Liam would open the tall wooden shutters and let sunlight flood the room. The light illuminated every corner, casting golden patterns on the walls and floor. He would stand for a moment, taking in the beauty of simple things. A sunbeam catching dust motes in its glow, the shadows of trees swaying across his floor, the distant hum of life in Willowbrook. Then he would pick up his brush and begin, his mind flowing with images that demanded to be captured. Painting was not just a profession for Liam, it was a dialogue with the world, a way to communicate what words often fail to express. Despite the vibrancy of his art, Liam carried a quiet ache in his heart.
He had spent years pouring his soul onto canvas, watching colors and forms take life, yet he had watched love pass him by. Friends found partners, townsfolk paired off in ways that seemed effortless, and he remained on the sidelines, observing with a mixture of admiration and longing. He often wondered if he would ever meet someone who could truly see him, not just the brushstrokes and colors he left behind, but the depths of his heart that remained carefully guarded. It was a gentle, aching loneliness, not bitter or resentful, just persistent and tender, like the quiet echo of a song half remembered. Liam's favorite hours were those spent in the late afternoon, when the sunlight softened and the town seemed to exhale. He would sip his tea, gaze out the large windows, and imagine stories for the people he saw passing by. There was a rhythm to life that he understood through observation. The way the baker greeted his customers, the way children ran across the square, the laughter of friends shared over small, simple joys. Yet, even in these scenes of happiness, a part of him longed for companionship, someone with whom he could share the quiet, the beauty, and even the silences. Though he rarely left his studio for long, he noticed everything about Willowbrook. He knew which trees bloomed first in spring, which cafes served the best chocolate pastries, and which alleyways caught the golden light just so at sunset. Every detail mattered. Every moment was inspiration. Yet the missing piece of his life lingered quietly, unacknowledged but ever present. He often thought about the idea of meeting someone whose presence could make his world feel complete, not someone to simply admire his art, but someone whose heart resonated with his own, who could walk beside him through the simple and extraordinary moments alike. And so, he spent his days in this delicate balance, creating beauty with his hands, while quietly longing for someone to share it with. The rhythm of his life was both peaceful and slightly melancholic, a testament to a soul that had loved from afar and waited patiently for the right moment. He painted sunsets, rivers, skies, and faces, each brushstroke infused with emotion, yet each creation also carried the subtle hint of a heart waiting to be discovered. Little did he know, the universe was already weaving the threads of destiny. Somewhere on the cobblestone streets of Willowbrook, a young woman with dreams bigger than the town itself walked unknowingly toward him. Emma's presence, gentle yet vibrant, was destined to awaken a part of Liam's heart that had remained dormant for too long. In the quiet of his studio, surrounded by the fruits of his labor and the echoes of his longing, the seeds of a beautiful connection were about to be sown. An encounter that would quietly, but profoundly, change the course of both their lives.
It was a soft, drizzling morning in Willowbrook when fate decided to intervene. The rain fell in delicate, rhythmic drops, coating the cobblestone streets with a shimmering gloss. Emma, clutching her favorite umbrella, walked briskly to escape the sudden downpour. She loved the rain. It made the world feel alive, each drop singing its own gentle song. But today, she only wished to keep her shoes dry. As she turned a corner near the edge of town, she noticed an old, ivy-covered building she hadn't paid much attention to before. A small sign swung lightly in the breeze, Liam's Art Studio. Curiosity tugged at her, and with a small shrug, she pushed open the door, stepping inside to escape the rain. Inside, the studio was like stepping into another world. Sunlight filtered through tall windows illuminated the room in a soft golden glow, bouncing off the vibrant colors of countless canvases. The smell of oil paint mingled with the faint aroma of damp earth that had seeped in from the rain outside. Every brushstroke, every painting seemed alive, almost whispering the stories of the heart to those who cared to listen. Emma paused in the doorway, letting her eyes wander over the portraits and landscapes, feeling a sudden sense of awe and wonder. Liam, lost in his work at the center of the studio, didn't notice her at first. He was brushing the finishing touches on a sunset painting, each stroke deliberate, infused with the quiet longing that often accompanied his creations. The soft sound of the door opening made him glance up, and his eyes met hers. In that single moment, time seemed to pause. There was a quiet intensity in her gaze, a spark of curiosity and warmth that seemed to reach him in ways he hadn't felt in years.
His heart skipped as though it recognized her before he even knew her name. Emma, equally captivated, felt a strange familiarity in Liam's presence. It was as if she had stumbled into a dream she had never known she'd been dreaming. "Hi," she said softly, almost a whisper, not wanting to break the spell that seemed to hang between them. Liam, clearing a spot on his table and setting down his brush, offered a gentle smile. "Hello," he replied, his voice calm yet carrying a warmth that made Emma feel instantly at ease. "Did the rain bring you here, or were you simply curious?" A laugh, light and musical, escaped Emma. "A little of both, I suppose," she admitted, glancing at the paintings around her. "I didn't expect to find this," she gestured up the vibrant canvases, "in such a quiet little town." Liam's eyes softened as he studied her expression. He said quiet towns have a way of hiding the extraordinary. Sometimes it takes the rain, or a curious soul, to reveal it. Their shared smiles felt like a bridge, an invisible connection forming between two hearts that had unknowingly been searching for each other. They spoke for hours, though neither realized the time passing. Liam explained the inspiration behind his paintings, the way light, emotion, and memory merged in every stroke. Emma shared her sketches, her notebooks filled with fleeting thoughts and dreams. They laughed together, exchanged ideas, and listened with rapt attention to each other's stories. Every word, every glance, every quiet pause seemed to weave an unspoken understanding between them. It was not just conversation, it was the gentle unfolding of something profoundly rare, the recognition of a kindred spirit. The rain eventually stopped, leaving the streets glistening in the soft light of morning. Emma looked outside, hesitant to leave the sanctuary of the studio. Liam noticed her hesitation and gently said, "You're welcome here anytime. Willowbrook has a lot more rain, and I think the studio might have more surprises for you." Emma smiled, a warm, radiant smile that made Liam's heart feel lighter than it had in years. "I'll come back," she promised, almost instinctively, though neither of them knew how often that would be, or how much their lives would change from that first magical encounter. As Emma stepped back into the soft light of the post-rain morning, she felt a subtle shift within her, a fluttering of the heart, a gentle excitement that whispered of possibilities. Liam watched her leave, feeling a quiet joy he hadn't realized he'd been waiting for. That morning, in the rain-soaked streets of Willowbrook, two worlds had collided gently yet irrevocably, setting in motion a story of love that would grow slowly, beautifully, and inevitably like the first tender bloom of spring after a long winter. In the days that followed, Emma found herself drawn to Liam's studio more often than she had anticipated. Each visit felt like stepping into a world where time moved differently, a world filled with color, light, and quiet magic. She would linger over his paintings, noticing the subtle details that made each piece unique, the way sunlight reflected off a river in one landscape, or the slight curve of a smile in a portrait that seemed almost alive. Liam, in turn, watched her reactions with a quiet fascination, noticing the way her eyes sparkled with curiosity, the soft tilt of her head when she pondered a detail, and the gentle laugh that emerged whenever something amused her. It was as if the world itself conspired to bring out the best in both of them. One afternoon, Liam invited Emma to try painting alongside him. He set up a small canvas for her and handed her a brush. "Don't worry about being perfect," he said softly. "Just let the colors flow." Emma hesitated for a moment, then dipped her brush into a pool of cerulean blue, feeling the paint glide over the canvas. The rhythm of their movements soon became synchronized, soft brushstrokes, quiet laughter, and the gentle exchange of thoughts. Liam's guidance was patient and kind, never critical, and Emma discovered a talent she hadn't known she possessed. She painted the sky, a brilliant cascade of blues and pinks, while Liam painted the golden glow of a nearby sunrise. Together, their canvases seemed to tell a single story, a story of shared vision, understanding, and quiet connection. Their conversations deepened with every meeting. They spoke of dreams, hopes, and the small fears that made them human. Emma shared her longing to explore the world beyond Willowbrook, the places she had only read about in books. Liam shared his quiet wish to capture moments of beauty and emotion, and how he sometimes wondered if he would ever find someone who truly understood him. Sometimes, Liam confessed one evening, I paint not because I want to show the world beauty, but because I'm searching for a heart that feels the same way I do. Emma, touched by his honesty, reached out and lightly brushed her hand against his. Maybe, she whispered, we found that heart in each other. The small, tender moments became the foundation of their growing bond. They shared walks along the riverbank, collecting wildflowers and watching the sunlight shimmer on the water. They visited the town square, laughing as Emma chased a runaway scarf blown by the wind, and Liam sketched her movements in his notebook, capturing the carefree joy that radiated from her. They explored the quiet corners of Willowbrook together, the hidden garden behind the old church, the little cafe tucked into a side street, the bridge where the river curved in perfect serenity. In each place, they left traces of their laughter, their whispers, and the gentle warmth of companionship. Evenings often found them sitting in the studio, painting or writing side by side. The soft glow of candlelight filled the room, mingling with the fading light of the sun outside. They would speak in low tones, sharing memories, ideas, and dreams for the future. Liam began painting Emma into his work, capturing the way her hair fell across her shoulders, the curve of her smile, and the sparkle in her eyes when she was truly happy. Emma, in turn, began sketching him, her lines capturing his concentration, the tilt of his head, and the quiet intensity in his gaze. Their art became a dialogue of the heart, a reflection of the bond growing between them, silent yet powerful, gentle yet undeniable. With each passing day, their connection deepened in ways that neither fully understood, yet both felt profoundly. It was a love that grew quietly, without grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but with the steady, unwavering certainty of hearts that had found their mirror. They discovered joy in the ordinary, sharing tea in the morning, laughing over a spilled palette of paint, or simply sitting in companionable silence as the rain tapped softly on the windows. It was in these small, intimate moments that Emma and Liam realized the extraordinary power of love, a love that did not rush, did not demand, but simply existed, filling their lives with warmth, light, and quiet happiness. Through this gentle unfolding, they began to see themselves in each other, not just the surface, but the depths of their thoughts, dreams, and unspoken emotions. Liam's art became more vibrant, infused with the life and laughter Emma brought into his world. Emma's sketches and writings took on new depth, inspired by Liam's vision and understanding. And in the process, they found something rare and beautiful, a love that nourished the soul, a friendship that felt timeless, and a quiet certainty that, no matter what the future held, they had discovered something worth holding on to.
Just as their hearts began to intertwine seamlessly, life introduced a gentle but unavoidable challenge. One crisp autumn morning, Emma received an unexpected letter from a publishing house in a distant city. They had read some of her sketches and writings and were offering her a position to contribute full-time, a chance to transform her dreams into reality. The offer was everything she had ever hoped for: adventure, recognition, and the opportunity to see the world she had long imagined. Yet, as she held the letter in her hands, a bittersweet feeling settled over her heart. Pursuing her dreams meant leaving Willowbrook, and, more importantly, leaving Liam, whose presence had become the warm center of her days. Emma wrestled with the decision for hours. She walked along the river, the golden leaves crunching under her feet, the water reflecting both the sunlight and the storm inside her heart. Her thoughts spiraled. If I go, will I regret leaving him behind? But if I stay, will I ever truly live my dreams? Each possibility seemed fraught with longing and uncertainty. Her love for Liam was undeniable, yet her desire to explore the world and follow her passion tugged at her relentlessly. She feared that choosing one path over the other might forever alter the delicate balance they had nurtured together. Meanwhile, Liam sensed a subtle shift in Emma's demeanor.
He noticed the quiet pauses, the distant looks out the window, the way she hesitated before answering his questions. Though he didn't know the specifics, his heart instinctively understood that something had changed. One evening, as they walked through the quiet streets lined with lanterns, he finally asked, "Emma, is something troubling you?" She looked down at her hands, fiddling with the leaf she had picked from the pavement. I've been offered an opportunity in another city," she admitted softly, her voice trembling with both excitement and fear. "It's everything I've ever dreamed of, but—" Shh. Her eyes met his, full of unspoken questions. Liam felt a pang in his chest, a quiet ache that mirrored the one Emma had been feeling. He wanted her to follow her dreams, to soar beyond a town's boundaries, yet the thought of her absence made his heart tighten. "Emma," he said gently, taking her hands in his, "I don't want to hold you back from what you're meant to do. You've always dreamed big, and I admire that more than anything." But even as he spoke, his words carried the weight of longing, a silent hope that she would find a way to stay. The following days were filled with a bittersweet tension. Emma and Liam continued their routines, visiting the studio, walking along the river, and sharing quiet meals. But there was a shadow hovering over their laughter. Every brushstroke Liam painted, every word Emma wrote, seemed tinged with the awareness of impending separation. They found themselves savoring each moment, holding hands a little longer, laughing a little louder, and stealing glances that spoke volumes without a single word. Their love, though tested, grew stronger in the crucible of uncertainty, revealing its resilience and depth. Emma wrestled with her emotions late at night, sitting by the window in the soft glow of candlelight. She imagined the new city, the bustling streets, the opportunities, but each vision was incomplete without Liam by her side. Her heart ached for him, even as it yearned for the adventure she had longed for. "How do I choose between my dreams and my heart?" she whispered to herself, the words disappearing into the quiet night. It was a dilemma that felt both impossible and profoundly human, a test of love that asked for courage, trust, and faith in destiny. For Liam, every day was a quiet battle. He tried to focus on his art, letting colors and brushstrokes fill the void of her absence, but his thoughts always wandered to her. He imagined her in the city, exploring new places, meeting new people, and yet he held on to hope that their connection could withstand distance and time. In the heart of Willowbrook, surrounded by the gentle beauty of the town and the familiar rhythm of life, he realized that love was not only about holding on, it was also about trusting that the bond they had built could endure, even across miles. And so the stage was set for a decision that would define their future. Emma's dreams beckoned, promising adventure and opportunity, while Liam's love anchored her heart to the place where they had discovered each other. In the quiet of their shared world, they both understood that love, no matter how tender and gentle, sometimes required a leap of faith, a choice to believe in the strength of their bond, even in the face of uncertainty. It was a delicate balance, a tender test, and the universe seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the hearts of Emma and Liam to choose the path that would lead them forward, together or apart. The days leading up to Emma's potential departure were filled with a quiet, bittersweet tension that seemed to hover in every corner of Willowbrook. Each morning, the town glowed with its usual warmth, golden sunlight spilling over cobblestones, leaves fluttering gently in the breeze, and the river reflecting the soft hues of the sky. But for Emma and Liam, even the familiar beauty of their surroundings felt tinged with uncertainty. They tried to continue their routines, walks along the riverbank, laughter in the cafe, quiet afternoons in the studio. But beneath each smile and gentle conversation lay a shadow of impending separation, a silent question neither wanted to fully voice. Emma spent long hours in contemplation, often sitting by the river with her notebook in her lap, tracing her fingers along its edges, as though the words written there could somehow make the impossible decision easier. She loved Liam with a depth she surprised her, a love that felt effortless yet profound. Every glance, every shared laugh, every small gesture had woven itself into the fabric of her heart. Yet the call for her dreams, the opportunity in a distant city, pulled at her relentlessly, whispering promises of adventure, growth, and fulfillment she had longed for since childhood. Is it selfish to follow my dreams if it means leaving him? She wondered, tears blurring the words she wrote on the page. Meanwhile, Liam wrestled with his own storm of emotions. He had always believed love was patient and quiet, something that revealed itself gently over time. But now, confronted with the very real possibility of losing Emma, he felt a surge of fear and longing he hadn't anticipated. Every brushstroke in his studio felt heavier, as if the absence of her presence had dulled the colors he so loved to paint. He would pause mid-stroke, staring at a blank canvas, imagining her smile, the way her eyes lit up when she laughed, and the warmth of her hand in his. "How can I let her go?" he whispered one evening, the words lost in the quiet hum of the studio. Their interactions grew charged with unspoken emotion. Simple touches, a hand brushing against a shoulder, fingers grazing when passing a sketch, carried a weight of longing that neither dared to fully acknowledge. Every glance seemed to linger just a little longer. Every word took on a depth that revealed their fear of the inevitable goodbye. Yet, even in the midst of this emotional turmoil, there was a beauty in the vulnerability they shared. Both Emma and Liam realized that love was not just about joyful moments. It was also about embracing uncertainty, feeling deeply, and trusting that the bond they had nurtured could withstand even the harshest tests. One evening, they found themselves sitting on a quiet bench near the river, the sky painted with hues of amber and lavender as the sun dipped below the horizon. The soft rustle of leaves accompanied their silence, a gentle reminder that life moved forward even when hearts were heavy. Emma leaned her head on Liam's shoulder, letting the warmth of his presence soothe the ache inside her. "I don't want to leave," she murmured, her voice trembling slightly. Liam wrapped an arm around her, feeling the weight of her confession as if it mirrored his own heart. "And I don't want you to go," he admitted softly, "but I also want you to live the life you've dreamed of. I just hope we can find a way through this together." That night, both returned to their own spaces, hearts tangled in longing and uncertainty. Emma stared at her suitcase, partially packed, and wondered if she was strong enough to